back to the Own It Show. I am Heather Lee Chapman, your mastery coach and host, and I'm so thankful and grateful to be here today to help you own your relationship with money because it shapes your financial future. And we have special guest, Maria G, today, who is a business coach and financial agency co-owner of Rising You. And I'm so grateful for her to share her zone of genius with you guys today. We've got some incredible tips to help you improve your relationship with money so you can own that financial future. And she's going to share her business journey and story because we're here to inspire you to get on that business journey and stay on it and thrive. We know it's a journey. So thank you so much, Maria, for being here today. Tell us more about yourself.
Thanks, Heather, for giving me the opportunity to be on your show. This is exciting. So Maria G, I help people to understand how money works so they can moving from being overwhelmed and feeling confident, in control, and have a financial future they want. You know, people can then take care of themselves, the people they love, and live a life that feels more aligned. And on the other note, I think I shared with you, Heather, I also mentor and train people to build a business in financial services so they can help other people too.
Yeah, I love that. And that's part of the way we got connected as well, because Shonda, who's been a previous guest and a guest speaker in our community,
Right.
she works in the same organization of yours. So I love that we get to bring you on now and talk about the relationship with money, because as Tony Robbins says, recently when I did his event, which was so great, he reminded us that money is a tool to be mastered. And if we don't learn it, it really will run our lives. And so I love that that's one of your tips today about mastering money. Otherwise, it will master you. But before we dive into that tip,
Yeah.
tell us more about your business journey. What inspired you to get started?
Yeah, I love you said that Tony Robbins. I mean, I listened to his video tape way back when, right? It's the finance is more one than just numbers, right? It helps
Mhm.
people to take control of their money and their time so they can have a chance to fully own their life. And so how I started was way back when, like about 15 years ago, I left my corporate job to start a coaching practice, helping people to shift their mindset, make goals, take action, and get results. And throughout the time, I keep seeing the same pattern is that even with the powerful coaching, a lot of people were still struggling financially. And I just could not understand why, and until later, I learned what was really going on is that they were trying to get ahead inside a financial system that was working against them.
Swimming upstream
Yeah.
never works for us.
Yeah, no, right? And our system was set up to make rich people richer. That's it, right? So that was the aha moment for me. And I realized shifting mindset, take action is not enough,
Mhm.
especially when it comes to money.
Yeah, you need the knowledge, which you don't get in school. So, unless you have amazing parents that taught you or you studied yourself, everyone's kind of just throwing spaghetti at a wall and hope it sticks, right? Because we have no model to pull from. And
Yeah.
we were just chatting before where I'd mentioned in NLP, there's a way that we can tell if people are recalling something or if they're creating something, they look a certain way. And when I was in the course, she said, "Oh, you have no model of money to pull from. You're just making it up along the way." And I thought, well, that explains so much. Time to improve my financial literacy. And so one of the things to help with that goal was I met with Shonda. And then I learned so much I didn't know that I didn't know. And then that's why we brought her in as a guest speaker, because we don't know what we don't know. And we won't know we didn't know it until we learn it. So we have to go out there and educate ourselves and work with people like you,
Mhm.
where as Jim Rohn would say, like, why spend 10 years trying to master it when you can hire somebody who's already spent those 10 years or 15 years mastering it, and you could
Mhm.
accomplish in 6 months to a year what would have probably taken you 10 years. So there is so much value in having a coach, and so much value in financial education and literacy and finding someone who can show you the way instead of wandering aimlessly, throwing spaghetti at a wall and hoping it sticks and making it up along the way.
Yeah, that's so brilliant, right? Like that's why I love reading books and listening podcasts. Is not just that half hour I spent, is that in the half hour the they are talking about is they have years of knowledge and skill they share in a half hour, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, when we talk about financial education, like the only financial tips I got from my mom, who's an entrepreneur, right? She said, if you want money, you go work hard. And so
Yes.
I follow her advice, right? I work hard, I make good money, and I spend it all.
Yeah, I did the same thing.
Yeah. So
And realized just couldn't work any harder. There had to be a different strategy.
yeah, right. Totally. It's like she didn't teach me was like, what do you do when you after you made the money, right? So that
Mm-hmm.
that was the part that I found is this work is really interesting because I see people in all stages of life and then they operating all different beliefs and education they learned, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anyway, so I chose to learn how money actually works, and I got my license, and I began to bring financial services together with the coaching, and that was the missing piece for me to truly serve people in a holistic way.
I love it because it is one of the key pieces that are missed in almost everything. And when I first launched online, we created the Own It Mastermind program. And one of the key features I wanted to make sure I had in there was financial education and that it was part of the conversation because it's missed everywhere else. And that's how I learned about Profit First because I was looking for education and things that I could bring into the program and speakers, but everything is so American. That's why
Yes.
I'm so excited to have a Canadian on speaking about money. That makes sense to us because a lot of the education out there is for more of the American system, and we have a little bit of a different system here. So I always say there's a big gap in the market for financial literacy books for Canadians. Just saying. But let's dive into your first tip, which I
Yeah.
love. So master the energy of money. So master your money instead of being mastered by it, which is one of Tony's lines as well, and it really stuck in my head after that event. So tell us why that's so important.
Yeah, like money is not just numbers, right? Is whether you're aware or not, is you already in a relationship with money.
Mm,
And once you see how that relationship shows up, and then you can decide, do I want to keep it? Do I want to change it? Right. So how you become aware is like some questions you can ask. It's like, or just observe how you're being with money. Like, do you take care of your money or do you ignore it? Right. Do you appreciate the money you have or coming in, or are you just constantly stressed about it?
mm,
Or are you using your money intentionally, or are you just reacting to it? All of those are pointing to relationship you have with money, right? If we remove the judgments, it's
mm.
like, okay, you doesn't matter, right? You already in relationship with this thing.
And in NLP, we say you must identify the current state and your desired future state
Uh,
so you can fill the gap. But
yeah.
most of us are too afraid. It's the avoidance tactic that you said to even look at the money. So you can't identify the current state. And if
Uh-huh.
you don't do that, you can't make a plan for the future. And so
Yeah.
it's so important for us to take that time to pause and have that relationship with money. And as you were speaking, it reminded me of when I first started being aware of this. Um, I was a kinesiologist, a nutritionist at Women's Fitness Clubs of Canada. And there was one of the most amazing trainers there who, by the way, if you ever listen to this, she's my idol. She used to work as a nurse all night long and come in and teach fitness classes and train people all day. Like she was the most energized for money, but she had this rule. Her purse never goes on the floor. She loves her money. She loves her relationship with money, and her money is kept in her purse. And it's like a friend, you wouldn't lay them on the floor. And so from that moment on, my purse never goes on the floor. And that was one of the things I started to do with building the relationship with it, was just even acknowledging that there is one, whether we're aware of it or not.
Yeah. And that's a so like when we sit down with the clients, and then believe it or not, a lot of people actually either don't know where they are at financially or they have a false belief of where they are at with their money. So
Mm,
it's similar to what you just mentioned about how you work with the clients, right? It's like we first is get clear on where they are at, and then we
mhm.
get clear on what's your return goal, right? Then we go about create a plan to close that gap.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Because how you relate to money, right? It shapes the
Mhm.
reality you're living today. That awareness is the first step. Like once we see like how you're relating to your money, then you can start shifting that relationship and you can start using money more intentionally and instead of feeling being controlled by it.
And some practices actually that I use. There's the book called The Magic, just for anyone listening. If you don't have that in your repertoire, you want it. It is a 28-day gratitude practice. It's by Rhonda Bryan. She wrote The Secret. And in it, it is one of the money practices is when you have money that comes in, you would write thank you for the money. So anytime I have an invoice comes in that's paid, I take a screenshot, and I've been doing this for as long as I can remember. And you can draw on it, right? And I write, thank you for the money. Anytime I get an invoice that I need to pay, I take a screenshot and you write, thank you paid. Anytime I go out, I know most people don't take paper receipts anymore, but I will. Anything time I spend money, I take that receipt home and I write thank you for the money on it, and I then get rid of the receipt. And so it's actually building a relationship with your money. And Abraham Hicks would challenge you to ask yourself when you are spending the money, what is that mindset? Are you thinking, oh my God, I don't have enough? Or are you thinking, I'm so grateful for this money that I get to spend and use and be a steward for? And she would challenge you to imagine that it comes back to you 10 times. Because most people spend the money and think in a lack mentality, and they're thinking, oh, now I have less. But imagine every time you spent money, you had the energy and thought and expectancy that what you put out comes back 10 times. Totally different way to feel about money.
Yeah, what you're just pointing to is a empowered, if we for like a better word, is an empowered relationship to money, how it could make instant change for you. Like
Absolutely.
you don't necessarily have to make more money to feel that way.
Yeah. And I'm trying to think
Yeah.
whose mom was it? Somebody's mom, like one of the very famous people. I'm trying to think one of the coaches and his mother. Oh, uh, obsessed or be average, Grant Cardone. His mom, he never thought she was wealthy, but she worked really hard and she always stewarded her money. And it turns out she was actually quite wealthy in the end because she knew what to do with the money. So she didn't earn a whole lot, and she knew what to do with it, and she taught him that, and he has gone forward and believes in that principle very, very much, to have that relationship with money and to know what to do with it. And that's why
Mm.
you see him on yachts, right? Like that's what is available to us when we begin to master money instead of being mastered by it.
Yeah, it's always starting with the relationship to money. Then you can looking at other things that you could like put those in practice. That's
Yeah.
when the tools and the resources and then some, tips and things you could do. Yeah.
Yeah, that's when you go and hire Maria and she tells you how you can best steward that money so it can 10x for you.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Okay, so let's talk about tip number two.
Mhm.
Find your money mindset community. We all know they set the saying, you are the average of the five people you surround yourself with. So if you take their revenue or income and you divided it, added it all together and divided it by five, that will be your average. We can't grow beyond our current environment. So tell us
Mm.
why it's so important to find a money mindset community.
Yeah, your relationship, how you're being with money, meaning how you what your beliefs and what you do, everything that involve money is heavily influenced by your environment. the conversation you hear, the beliefs around
Yeah.
you, and even what you see on social media. So I always recommend people be conscious what you are pay attention to on social media, right? Is all that will shape how you feel about money. And
Yeah.
it's important to find a community that supports you and that is growing in the same direction you want to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And um, I love how you talked about it's the beliefs, it's how people talk about money. There is a huge, huge difference. So I think a lot of people believe that a lot of really wealthy people have a different kind of relationship with money. And you would be amazed how generous and kind they may be with money. But we have a story or a belief that, and I will be honest, this was mine for the longest time because it's what my grandpa taught me. All people are really rich, they're bad people and they got their money in the wrong way and they stole it, or what in his
Mhm.
words, they're stealing from the old and or they're robbing your next generation. And so that was my thought. So I could earn as much as I wanted, I just couldn't keep it because that would mean I was bad, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so and turns out he was really wealthy in the end, came here from Austria with nothing, built a business, and became very wealthy, but you would have never known because he was one of those people who never spent an extra dollar on anything that wasn't required. And he took that money and he was the best steward for it and retired at 50. He would be almost 100 now, passed away at 92. My grandmother will be 94 next month, and she's still living off their investments today and generously gifts on birthdays and Christmas to all 18 family members,
Yeah.
19 soon. And so that's what's possible when you can learn to have that relationship and steward it, but you have to be mindful of what gets put in. So my cousin would sit with him and get financial literacy. He taught her how to do stocks. So she owns her income property. She works for RBC downtown, like she owns it. And what I was conditioned with was like, you have money, you're bad. So I could earn as much as I want. So it's also like getting both sides of that story. So I got the belief, but then not the education that could help me switch it. So that money mindset community and that environment we're in is so important because there is a big difference of how wealthy people and not so wealthy people interact, think, and feel in that relationship with money. It's completely different. And I'm sure you've experienced that through all the clients that you've supported.
Yeah. You bring up thanks for sharing your family story, right? I always very interested to hear about that because it tells me a lot about how come they are where they are today, right?
Mm,
And remove any judgments. And then that's exactly how come our, money is such a high stake conversation, is that because when we talk about money, we really are not talking about money.
mm,
Is everything our upbringing, good, bad, and ugly, all those things, right? And so for the part that when we're working with people is to supporting them to acknowledge what they have learned, not throw it away, but to support them to understand this will be a slow process, right? I sometimes joke, I said, my work is kind of boring. I teach you to be rich slowly over time, right? If you want overnight change, I'm not your person because that's not realistic, right?
yeah.
But through that process, including we teach you, like we give lots of education, we empower people with knowledge. They might not remember what they learned, but the feeling of, okay, I'm capable of making the change is very important. And then we give them the tools and then we make it very easy, simple to understand. It's like the 5-year-old can follow, right? And then we support them, we coach them, we get them in the community, then they can continue to be exposed by
Mm,
the people who are, instead of avoiding money conversation, they openly talk about it. Instead of focusing on the limitation, they talk about what's possible, right? Like what you're sharing
mm.
about your grandma. And also we in our community, we encourage people to grow rather than reinforce their doubts.
So
right?
important.
Yeah, and I think a community is such a underestimated factor for people's success or failure in the other hand,
Yes.
right? So because the community not only does something mentally for us, like shifting your mindset, but energetically has such a huge impact,
Yeah,
right? Like even
absolutely.
like I often say you want a different relationship, you want a breakthrough around money, you are inevitably gonna be stuck at it at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, so you might just like for definitely was there. Like I didn't really believe it was for me, but my mentor was believing in me even when I was not able to at times, right? And that is enough for me to move forward, to keep going.
And that's why mentorship and guidance and accountability are keys for success. And I
Yeah.
love how you said it really is a compound effect. Like, I'm not going to teach you to get rich quick overnight. And I think that's what happens is a lot of people think, oh, it'll just be a big windfall. This soon I'll just create a big windfall. And that's where they don't put the actions in place to have that cumulative effect. But it's the compound effect, right? It's what we do day in and day out. We had a podcast guest years ago, and his company is called Be Your Own Bank. And he said one key thing he teaches his clients is to make sure that every dollar has a duty,
Love that.
and to make sure that you're getting that compound effect from that. It's
Mhm.
not, we would all love to have 50
Yeah.
million right now, and it's 100% possible. Just have to do that compound effect. There's a book called
Mhm.
The Slight Edge. If you haven't read it, highly recommend
Oh
it.
yeah. One of
Right?
my favorite book, yes.
Yes, literally one of the best books I've ever read. So simple. But he talks about it's the little mundane things that people do day in and day out that compound over time.
Yes.
So it's like $20 you put away every week or don't put away. Easy to do, also easier not to do, is how he would say it. And so making sure you get that compound effect and have the patience. It's worth the slow crawl and the grow.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, that's so my all-time favorite book. Yes, totally. If you ever read only one book in your lifetime, this will be the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I sometimes say, I cannot teach you consistency, right? But
Yeah.
what I can is supporting you to get in the community that will support you to build muscle in consistency, if that's what you want. Yeah.
Yeah, to build that muscle in
Yeah.
consistency. I love it.
Okay. Yeah.
I love it. So, guys, compound fact over time, it's worth the time and energy. And you must find that money mindset community. Maria has one if you're looking for one, because you won't outgrow your current environment. You need to be around different types of conversations and start getting comfortable talking about money, because that's one of the things they say is a lot of people who don't have money, they don't even talk about it. It's like the taboo conversation. You don't talk about money. Yet
Mhm.
really wealthy people very happily can talk about money. They have that relationship with money. So it's so important to put yourself in that kind of community. We are, by innate, we are community led. The Balboa monkey study proves that without love and without community and support, they take the mom away, the baby would die, right? We learn through the lockdowns, the depressions, the suicides, the things that happened, what happens when people don't have community. And then you want to put yourself in the right one because the wrong one could just take you in the opposite direction. Maria's been doing this for years. She has a community that could support you. And I know from being a coach for over 15 years and specifically running group programs for over 6 years now, the power of a community, because it's really hard when you try to do things on your own. We will often quit on ourselves before we get to where we want to go. If you can see everyone else on the journey going through some of the same struggles, experiences, that helps inspire you that you're not alone, that stuff does happen. And you can often learn from them and avoid mistakes that they've already gone through, and they can encourage you on your journey. So, hands down, having the right community and a money mindset community is essential to thrive, to own that financial future, because you will only grow as big as your environment. So
Wow.
let's talk
Very
about
well
tip.
said.
Yeah, thank you. Let's talk about tip number three.
Uh-huh.
Don't be afraid because everything is learnable. Tell us why that's so important on that money journey.
Yeah, wow. Money is definitely a learnable skill. You learn how to walk, you can learn this, right? And so financial confidence is, I have so many clients, I sit down, they're like, I want to feel confident about my money, about my future and all that. I'm like, that's a learnable skill, right? It's
Yeah.
not something you are born with. It's just something you need to make a decision. Okay, this is something I need to learn, right? Like, so be aware that this is not everybody, but I see some people is they just expect somehow they expect I'm adult now, I should be good at money. If
Yeah.
I'm
Yes.
not, then like there's all kinds of judgment they have on themselves, and that's exactly what stops them from gaining this skill by have open mind to learn. Like so one thing I was helping people to see like what are you usually talking to yourself about money? Like are you saying I'm not good with money or it's too complicated or I'll deal with it later, right? And from that shifting to like I can learn this. I can understand this step by step, right? I can improve over time, like what we keep talking about compounding. So is that part is like feeling the feelings, but still giving yourself the opportunity to learn the skill.
Yeah, it's figure outable, is what people say,
Yeah,
right? It's
yeah,
it's
yeah.
learnable and you just have to get started, right? So don't be afraid because that keeps us stuck and in the same spot. And you can learn it along the way. And like I said earlier, you could take 10 years to learn it on your own, or you can hire Maria, who's been mastering it for over 15 years. We say it takes 10,000 hours for mastery
Mhm.
or about 10 years, and she is almost into 2 decades of mastery with this. And so what an incredible person to help guide you. She also helps other coaches become financial coaches. So they say you truly mastered something when you can teach it. And so not only are you teaching it to your clients, you're also helping other people become financially literate and be able to help others. And so I think that's absolutely incredible. Thank you for what you do. It's a huge gap in our market. And to have kind and conscious people who live in a judgment free zone. You've said that many, many times throughout the
Mhm.
show about releasing our judgment, because I think that's what keeps people stuck, right? Is the story that we have that goes along with our self image with money.
Mhm.
And so, if we can let that go and then find someone like Maria who can guide you along the way, you can master it and it's possible. And just imagine 10 years from now, what could be possible for you if you chose to say, hey, I'm going to be a steward for money in the best and highest way. I'm going to release my judgment and story about where I am now or where I've been. And I'm just going to make that decision now that going forward, it's going to be different. And it may take some time. And I know the time is going to pass anyways. So wouldn't I prefer that in 10 years from now that I have that financial nest egg so I can feel safe, provided for, protected, and also not just for you, for your family, for your loved ones. And
Mhm.
it's worth the time, it's worth the energy, it's worth the effort, and it takes learning to master it, changing that energy and relationship with it, finding that community, and having a growth mindset that it can change. It is possible instead of that fixed mindset that where I am now is where I'll always be. And that's not true. You just have to make that decision that 10 years from now, you will have mastered money and you'll be in a different place. And so Maria's got an incredible offer for you guys to book a free consultation call. There's a link there. And then there's also a money character quiz. So tell us a little bit about the importance of them booking that call and what that quiz could do for them.
Yeah, for sure. Like I know I'm stranger just to you, right? Like that not you, Heather, but like whoever is gonna listen or watch this. But if you are like you want some free financial education and or you're like you have a plan, you want a second opinion about the plan, I'm happy to give a half hour of my time. There's a link, feel free to grab it. And my only ask if you schedule it, please do show up. My time Otherwise, they could use that time serve somebody else, right? But
Yeah.
what I find is in the industry, traditionally speaking, the industry look down upon small accounts.
Mm,
Meaning that people who doesn't have a high net worth, they get left behind. And I love to serve people if that's where you are at right now, right? No string attached,
mm.
totally good. And
I
the
just want to
quiz,
say here for a second,
yeah,
I know that people don't show up because of that fear, of that story, of that meaning that they have about themselves in the relationship with money and the judgment, right?
yeah,
They're afraid of judgment and they're already judging themselves. So, as Maria has already mentioned multiple times, it is a judgment free zone.
hmm,
And you have to give yourself that best chance by taking that first step. So, book the call. Your ego, your current personality, limiting belief system would love for you not to show up because that would keep you safe in the same. But I know that's you don't want to stay safe in the same. You want to grow. So show up, book that call, and know that that time is invaluable. And now
thank you,
tell us
Heather.
about the quiz.
Yeah, I love that. Thanks for putting that part in. Yeah.
Of
So,
course.
and the quiz is we created something just to give people something a little bit fun to do. Is like you answering some questions, then it will give you the results like what kind of money character you are in, and there will be a little bit of tips. And what it does is it help you to normalize your experience and understand a little bit more how you're being with the money, and there's some tips about it. No, we don't collect your email address unless you want. You can put it in or follow me on social media and we can stay connected.
Yeah, and we'll have all those links for you there so you can connect with her, book a call, grab this super cool money character quiz. I just picture like cartoon character running around with money bags. When I think about myself, just like wild coyoteing it with money bags. So we will work on that myself. And you have a great book recommendation for us. So tell us why this book and what it is.
Oh yeah. So my favorite book in the last a bit now, I listened to it so many times, is called Dying to Be Me by Anita Mojani. It's not a money book. It's about her near-death experience and how it shifted her view on life, fear, and what matters. And she completely shifted how she at the foundation of her life. And but it can also change how you relate to money and everything else. Yeah. So great book.
I love it. And it has been a theme that's come up a few times. I did a rapid breakthrough with a client and I really saw her step into her and she had put up a post and said like this year I'm being me. Like I know everyone else out there is afraid to be themselves. Like there's this fear of self-expression and stepping into that full authentic again judgment, right? We have this like story around judgment. So I love the title of the book, and I dare you to be more you. And money is only going to help you be more of you. So if you're already an amazing person, more money is just going to make you more amazing. And just think about all the good you could do with money. Imagine you would be able to donate to your favorite charity annually what you used to earn because you have invested and learned how to manage money. Get into that state of possibility. And I dare you to dream big, play big, and own that relationship with money so that you can own your financial future, so you can have a life of freedom and choices.
I love that. We should make that our tagline.
Yeah, we should. It's an affirmation I write every day. It's my gratitude money
Nice. Okay.
affirmation that I am so happy and grateful for the money that I earn, receive, have, and get to be a steward for, because it allows me a life of freedom and choices and an opportunity to give more. So try that on if you want a money gratitude statement, because anything that you're grateful for comes back tenfold. So thank you so much for being on the show today, Maria. Is there anything
My
else you'd
pleasure.
like to add?
Well, I just want to thank you, Heather. I know you create a great community through your work and where, people doing some deep dive with you and they still have a loving, a nourishing space they can land and continue to behold and do the work. And though, today we talk about money, but you and I were here just supporting people to becoming like what you said, right? Like more of who they are. I truly believe that in this world, if we remove all the barriers, limitation, and we just supporting people to living to their full potential, most of the problem we have in this world will just
Mm.
naturally fades away.
Yeah, and we can really have that peace in heaven on earth that it was meant
Absolutely.
to be here.
Yeah,
And we
absolutely.
get to do that one person, one transformation at a time.
Yes, totally. One podcast at a time. Good
Yeah,
job.
and one podcast at a time, which is my favorite thing to do. It's one of my gifts, my voice. I once had somebody said, if you would just find somebody else who could talk as much as you could, you'd make so much money. Little did I know that that was going to be my podcast and bringing on guests. And the joke is that every report card said Heather talks too much. And now think about how much people pay me to talk. So be more you. I'm glad I didn't listen to those report cards. And now I get to go out there and share these gifts with these. And I mean, the gifts are the guests that I bring on. So these gifts, these amazing guests with you guys. So I love this show. It's my favorite thing to do. It started as a Instagram show and just bringing people on and talking in 2020. So maybe even 2019. And so now I'm so grateful just to see it grow and scale from here and reach even so many more people. And in the same with money, you just have to get started and then everything is figure outable and learnable along the way. So thank you again, Maria, so much for
My
being on the
pleasure.
show today.
Yeah, thank you,
And
Heather.
remember, everybody, stay happy, healthy, wealthy, expect magic and miracles. And what is the best that can happen? We'll see you on the next episode. Thank you.